Welcome, everybody, to the Ray Shasho Show, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency. Each week, Ray spotlights in-depth interviews with legendary and up-and-coming authors and music artists. Ray also features the movers and the shakers of the music and publishing industries and suggests important methods for getting the most out of your public relations and marketing needs. Please welcome music journalist, author, and entrepreneur, Ray Shasho.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ray Shasho. Welcome to the show where we spotlight legendary and up-and-coming music artists and authors, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency. Call us today at 941-877-1552 or visit www.publicityworksagency.com. Remember, we shine only when we make you shine. Our very special guest today is the legendary drummer from Foghat, Roger Earl. Roger Earl is the man with the beat. Pounding his drums for over 40 years, this British rock and roller is partial to rock and blues, and always has been. Roger left school at 16 to pursue a career in commercial art in London to support his drum and cymbal habit. He did this for about 4 years quite successfully until he joined SAVOY Brown at the age of 20. He says, I didn't receive payment for the first 6 weeks from Savoy, but at least I was semi-pro. I continued auditioning for other bands during lunch hours and after work during this time because I still wasn't sure I had the job. He auditioned for people like the Crazy World of Arthur Brown, who I have interviewed before, very nice guy, and, of course, Jimi Hendrix, among others. His 5 albums with SAVOY Brown, one of the hippest blues rock acts on either side of the Atlantic between 1968 and 1970, we're getting to the point a step further, Raw Sienna, which became a British blues classic, Blues Matter and Looking In. During a couple of lunchtime sessions, Roger, Dave Peverett, Colin Earl, Bob Hall, Savoy's pianist, and others cut a rockabilly album called Warren Phillips and the Rockets. He also played drums on Chris Jagger's first album, on Mungo Jerry's debut album in 1970. SAVOY Brown did their first U.S. tour in 1968 with greats like B.B. King, Albert King, Paul Butterfield Blues Band, Charles Musselwhite, the Jay Giles Band, one of my favorites, and I've seen Foghat play with Jay Giles many a time. Just like a Bobby Blue Band and a Buddy Guy. After touring the U.S., he knew he was home. December of 1970, Roger and Dave Peverett left SAVOY Brown to form Foghat. They hooked up with Rod Price and released their first record in 1972 on the Bearsville label, a subsidiary of Warner Brothers, and followed with their first U.S. tour. They became an immediate success, following up the gold debut with lots of other gold albums, Rock and Roll, Energized, Rock and Roll Outlaws, 1975's, of course, Fool for the City, which included the mega hit Slow Ride, made them superstars. They continue the gold with Night Shift, their 1977 Foghat Live, which went double platinum, and Stone Blue. Those were followed with Boogie Motel in 1979, Tight Shoes, In the Mood for Something Rude, Girls to Chat and Boys to Bounce, and Zigzag Walk. By the early 80s, punk was in and musical tastes were going through a transition period. Rod Price had left the band, replaced by Eric Cartwright, and Lonesome Dave had returned to England. Settled comfortably on Long Island, New York, Earl admittedly didn't know how to relax. He played with the New England Jam Band on weekends for a while with people like James Montgomery, the Uptown Horns, John Butcher, Charlie Farron, Fran Sheehan, Elliot Randall, and Mark Rivera. But soon the remaining 3 members, Roger, Craig, and Eric, began touring again as Foghat. 1993, the 4 original members of Foghat reunited at the request of producer Rick Rubin. Although the project with Rubin never materialized, they recorded Return of the Boogeymen, and we're on the road again. The road, as it always has been for this most traveled hard rock blues band, proved still kind to them. 3 generations of fans were still boogieing to their music. By 1990, Rod had left the band again, replaced by Lonesome Dave's great friend Brian Bassett. And Lonesome Dave became seriously ill. He passed away on February 7th, 2000, and after several months of not knowing what to do and a great deal of pressure to keep the band alive, Roger contacted Charlie Hoon and asked him to join the band. The rest is history in the making. Now, 7 years later, with a studio CD a new DVD, and a new double live CD, Live 2, the band is doing better than ever. When asked what made him immigrate from London, England to Long Island, New York, of all places, he simply says, when we got off the boat, it was the first place there. Roger's still hammering away, still a noisy sod, and this rock and roll road warrior wouldn't have it any other way. He says, in the immortal words of Lonesome Dave Everett, I'm gonna rock till I drop. Foghat comes full circle with their newly released album entitled Under the Influence. Drawing from their collective musical influences, the band not only brought in some special guests from their past who helped and inspired the Foghat story, but also invited some new friends into the mix to continue the journey of this never idle band. They started recording at the Florida studio, Boogie Motel South, in 2013. In addition to Foghat members Roger Earl, Craig McGregor, Charlie Hoon, and Brian Bassett, two additional figures helped shape the sessions. Buddy Guy alumni Scott Holt, who lent a hand in the writing and added fantastic guitar and vocals to several tracks, and Grammy-winning award producer-songwriter Tom Hambridge. With their resident genius guitarist Brian Bassett at the helm, the project was going slow since Brian was doing triple duty, playing, writing, and recording tracks while in the midst of a Foghat tour. So Tom Hambridge came aboard. According to Roger Earl, I met Tom when presenting 3 awards to Buddy Guy and Tom at the Memphis Blues Awards. Tom said that he was a fan and would love to produce a Foghat record. Putting that in the back of my mind, this was the perfect opportunity. Tom came down to Boogie Motel South to meet the band, and we clicked and started writing together immediately. Working with him was inspirational. During the time, an opportunity arose from some other recordings at Dark Horse Institute in Nashville for a friend's graduation project. Scott, Brian, and Roger recorded 6 tracks and a new band, Earl and the Agitators, with Scott Holt as lead guitarist, vocals, and it was born. They are now playing some dates opening for Foghat, with Roger and Brian doing double duty. This great experience prompted Foghat to move the recordings of Under the Influence to Dark Horse Studios, where they brought in 2 of their major influences. Foghat was spawned, of course, from the British blues band SAVOY Browne in 1971, so it was fitting to ask Savoy founding guitarist Kim Simmons, by the way, to join in. As Roger Earl puts it, Kim gave me my shot. As soon as Kim started playing, everyone was mesmerized. Included on the release is a new recording of Slow Ride to celebrate the 40th anniversary. They invited Nick Jamison, original bass player and producer of Slow Ride on the 1975 Fool for the City album, to play along with Foghat. Bassist Craig McGregor, who played bass on Foghat live. They had a blast doing it, and Foghat lead singer Charlie Hoon was, as usual, at the top of his game with his incredible vocals and guitar work. And to round out the project, the amazing Dana Fuchs added some of her bluesy, sultry vocals to a couple of tracks. 3 years in the making, Foghat, and the result is an eclectic blend of rock and blues with a little funk and R&B on the side for good measure. It showcases the combined talent of all the members, both in the writing and the playing, and by God, this band never stops. Please welcome legendary drummer and songwriter for Foghat, Roger Earl, to the Ray Shasho Show. Hello, Roger.
Hello, Ray. Well, you've said it all. I mean, I don't really say anything now. I forgot about half of that you were talking about, but thank you. Pleasure talking to you.
You're very welcome. I really thank you for being on the show today. Last time we chatted, and we did chat before, it was during the Last Train Home album, which I gave it 5 stars. And now history repeats. Give Under the Influence 5 stars as well. It is a great album.
Thank you. Yeah, as you noted, it was. I had a really good time making this record. It took a while, but I'm really, really pleased with the way it turned out. The sound, the songs, the way everybody played. I have to give a big hand to Tom Hambridge, our producer. I was always a little dubious about working with somebody else, but Tom actually, when he first came down to meet us at the studio down in Florida, it just clicked. We were immediately started working on songs and lyrics and arrangements, and it's like having a fifth member in the band. And also, Tom Hambridge happens to be an excellent drummer. He plays a lot with Buddy Guy, and he also plays with other people, and also his own band, the Rattlesnake. So I like having two drummers around. Get the arrangements right.
You like having two drummers, huh?
Yeah. Actually, I've made a couple of albums. There was one album I did with one of my favourite drummers back in 1974. Name is Bernard Pretty Bird. He played on a whole host of early rhythm and blues records of Rita Franklin, James Brown, and he was always one of my favourite drummers. And I got a chance to play with him around the time we did the Energized album, somewhere around 1974. And we sat up side by side in the studio and recorded 3 tracks together. And Bernard Pretty Bird is one of the most fantastic drummers ever, and a beautiful man, and I learned a lot from him. One of the things that I enjoyed talking to him about was, because he didn't know the songs, I knew the 3 songs, and so our producer wrote our charts for him, and he turned around to me and he said, all right, we'll play it one time to get the arrangement, play it the second time to get the song right, we'll play it a third time just for fun. And that's something that stayed with me forever. You've got to play a song more than 3 times. Go home or start another song or go and have a drink. It's like, you shouldn't have to play a song more than 3 times to get it right. Otherwise, you don't know the song. But not Purdy is something else.
Yeah, usually the fun time is the one that gets recorded. I always said, and I talk to a lot of guys, musicians, that say, you know, you don't want to make the song too perfect. If it has a little bit of, you know, air in it, it probably sounds better, you know. And I think some of the greatest songs ever had a little bit of, you know, nothing was perfect. There was also, you know, a little bit of error in the song.
You're right. And most I hate to use the words organic, but you know, as a musician, you learn to play what needs to be done. I can play the click tracks, but it's more preferable to sit there and play with the whole band. And if they need to redo some stuff, that's fine. But and some movement in the song. So you don't really want to slow down. That's not on for drummers unless the song requires it. You don't slow down, and you don't slow down fills. You hit it. You play in time and on time. But if it sometimes creeps up in tempo over the length of like 4, 5, 6, 8 minutes, that's fine. That's giving the song air. So yeah, hey, we're not perfect. We're not a machine.
Right. And you know, and I think a lot of music today is overproduced. You know, it just doesn't. You know, and it does. You know, when it's overproduced, it just doesn't sound. It doesn't sound real. You know, there's nothing like a. You know, and I always said this too. Some of the you know, like bands that are playing in clubs and things like that sound fantastic. You know, because they're just out there having fun. But then some of these guys that get into the studio and they overproduce this, you know, to death. It just doesn't come out right. It's just not natural, you know. But
I agree with you. You know, it also depends, I think, on the song and the type of material you're doing. But
right.
Yeah, as a band, it's basically a basic 4-piece, 2 guitars, bass and drum. That's all you really need. I mean, it's fine putting some percussion on top because that helps the song move and give it, you know, some flavor. But, whenever we record, I say whenever we record, most of the time when we record, everybody is playing at the same time. Charlie will be singing the song, whether he redoes the vocals or not, that's another thing. But so that you have a feel for the song, you know, when, you know, the guitar solo comes in, you know, the bass and drums want to lift it and move it. In fact, Craig McGregor, our longtime bass player, said once, the bass and drums laid down a road for the guitars and vocals to ride on. So I kind of thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you did Slow Ride in one take, right, on the album?
On this album, yes, we did it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I know that song.
I hope so.
Got that one down. Actually, that was we did it because it was the 40th anniversary. Also, as a nod to Dave and Rod, But also we had a chance to play with two bass players on that. Nick Jamison came down. He lives in Iceland now, but he came down to play bass on it. Craig McGregor also played bass, so there's two bass players on it. That was interesting.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's hope for the music industry yet, because for the first time since 1983, Foghat is back on the Billboard charts with Under the Influence, and I think it debuted at 17 on hard rock albums, number 40 on independent albums, and it hopefully keeps rising.
Well, yeah, pretty scary after all these years, but it's the reason. I think, you know, I have to sort of put it down to our fans, because we had a pledge campaign, and the fans had enough faith in us to sort of you know, order the copy in advance before they heard anything, and I think that was a large part of the reason that it charted, whatever that means. I was never all that concerned about it. I'm concerned about the music and how it sounds and how it feels, but. Yeah, I have to thank the fans. Our fans are incredible over here. We play mostly in the States. We've done a couple of shows in Sweden Rock, which I think is a fantastic festival. But most of the time it's in the States. We played Mexico a few times, played Canada 2 or 3 times a year. I love my work. What can I tell you? Be careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, Foghat fans are incredible all the way through the years. You know, you guys are very lucky because you got great fans, because you're a great band, and you know, you're a lovable band on top of that. You know, but it's here. I'm going to make a statement. It's very rare, okay, for me to say good things about a legendary rock band who only has, I guess, one original member. But Foghat Foghat to me is the exception, because you stuck to the band's hard-driving rock and blues roots, but you guys created an entirely different twist to the band. You know, you didn't try to copycat the sound created by its original members, and it's like rediscovering Foghat all over again in a brand new era of rock and roll. And you know, my hat's off to the band for doing that. And you know, I was recreated myself as a Foghat fan once again with the new lineup. And for me, that's you know, odd, because there's a lot of bands calling themselves. I don't want to name names, but they still use the band name, and there's nobody left. Okay,
But that is kind of sad. But there's another side to that story. I mean, if musicians sort of want to have a job, want to play, I think.
Right.
But this band stands on its own. I mean, Brian Bassett's been with the band over 20 years.
Right.
Takes the amount of time he played with Lonesome Dave. Charlie's been with the band 16 years now, so it's not like a new band.
Right.
Charlie also was a huge fan of SAVOY Brown and Foghat. And in fact, he met Dave when Dave was alive a couple of times. Brian Bassett also toured with Rob Price, so and they used to room together, so it's not like there's no connection there. But it's basically the attitude. You know, we all have similar sort of taste in music, especially Brian Bassett. He has a wide range of tastes. He's a very talented producer and engineer in his own right, and a great guitar player. He also plays piano. Tried to talk him into playing on the record, but he's a little reluctant. Charlie Hune is also a great pianist, but he seems to be reluctant to play the piano on stage, so I'm not sure why. But, you know, I've always played with great musicians ever since the very first band I was in. And then when I joined SAVOY Brown, you know, the songwriting, the musicality of Kim Simmons and Chris Jordan and Lonesome Dave, so I think that helps sort of raise the bar for you. Also, I've worked with an amazing producers over the years, and you learn a lot, you know, from working with like talented people. So I have to give a little bit of a nod to the people that I've worked with.
The other thing, Foghat, you can always count on a great show. No matter where you are, no matter what venue you're in, you give it all. You're all, you know, and that's another reason why the fans love you guys so much.
But the day that you know, it's all hurry up and wait. You know,
right.
the thing we listen for that hour and a half that we get to play it. So that's what it's all about. The rest of the time is hurry up and wait, sitting in hotel room, sitting in trains and playing cars. In fact, I'm in a car at the moment. It's a bit noisy.
Right.
Can you hear it? I put the top up so it wouldn't be too noisy, but...
oh, yeah, I can hear you. Sure. No problem.
You can hear me? Okay, good.
Just so everybody knows, Roger's driving around in a convertible today. Hopefully it's beautiful weather. Where are you, anyway?
I'm at Long Island. I'm off to do a wine tasting with our wine, Foghat Cellars wine. And then this evening I'm taking my grandson out to dinner with his girlfriend.
Awesome.
So, no, it's a beautiful day. It's a bit cloudy and it's pretty warm, but it's a good day. I'm off this week, and then after this weekend, I'm working till the end of the year.
Right.
So I don't work, I play.
You play, but you got to catch up on birthdays, graduations, anniversaries.
Yeah, that's right. I've missed so many over the years, so any chance I get to do it or have a makeup day, I do that. Well,
it's in the night.
My middle daughter actually works with us now. She does the media for us, Jessica. And like when we were growing up, she would come out on the road with me when she was 5 or 6, come on the bus, but I was always away. So it's kind of nice now. I come down the stairs about 10 o'clock in the morning, and there she is, busy working on her daddy's career. So
that's great.
That's really cool. Yeah, it is great.
That's wonderful. Yeah. The special guests on this album are also incredible. I mean, Scott Holt did a marvelous job. You know, Scott's been with Buddy Guy for many years. Kim Simmons, of course, who I've interviewed. Kim is such a nice guy, great guy. We had a long chat together. And finally, I think our last interview, I was mentioning, are you ever going to work with Kim Simmons again? And he said, if we had the time, to finally hook up. And I'm so glad Kim's on this album, because your music, the music is very just similar. You guys worked together in the past, and it's wonderful to have Kim on this album.
Kim is an incredible musician, and actually we played last year. We did the Rock Legends cruise together, and
great!
Kim was there with SAVOY Brown. He got up and played a couple of songs with Foghat, and then I played I played 4 or 5 songs with Kim's band. I know their tune, and I asked him if he would like to come down and play on this album. He said, "Well, if I'm around, I just don't want to lend my name to it." I said, "No, I want you to play on it." In fact, Kim helped co-write the Under the Influence, the title track. So, having Kim there was a blast, and I know Brian Bassett and Charlie too got a real thrill about standing in the same room playing guitars with Kim. Yeah, it was nice to have this much fun at this time of life.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's great.
And you got Nick Jamison, who on bass guitar. He's an ex-producer and member of Foghat, who is also an interesting fellow because he's done some acting gigs as well. He's kind of a Renaissance man in a way, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a piece of work. Nick is a piece of work. He's an absolutely amazing and brilliant person, and probably has to be one of the funniest people I think I've ever met. He does stand-up comedy. He writes tons of songs and music. As I said earlier, he's moved to Iceland, which is kind of interesting. Oh, by the way, they have a great football team, don't they?
Huh.
Knocked England out of the cup. Good for them. It was really enjoyable having Nick play on. Played on 3 or 4 songs on the album. But Kim was probably a highlight for me, like having Kim there. It was really enjoyable. Also,
Dana Fuchs, who's a remarkable vocalist, was on the album. Rodney O'Quinn, I guess, on bass, and of course Tom played some percussion besides producing the album.
Yeah, he was playing with shakers and movers.
Yeah. Yeah, Tom's got quite a resume, and I think they call him the White Willie Dixon, right? That's Buddy Guy is what.
Do they? I don't know about that. Willie was a bass player. Actually, I met Willie a number of times. When on our first album, I Just Want to Make Love to You, the hit, 1972, and of course Willie Dixon wrote that. Obviously, it was performed by Muddy Waters.
Right.
And then in '77, off of Foghat Live, they released I Just Want to Make Love to You as a single. And we were playing for 3 nights in Chicago at the amphitheater there. And the first night, Willie sent his daughter down to see us, and we treated her like a princess, she was. And on the second night, she brought her brother, Butch, down and treated him like the prince he was. And on the third night, Willie came down to see us. And the upshot of it was Willie's getting all this money from this band called Foghat from the first album, and it was a hit on the live album. And he said to his kids, go down and see what these Foghat boys have got under their fingernails. I guess it turned out all right, because Willie came down. Dave introduced him on stage and said, without people like Willie Dixon, there would be no rock and roll. And it's true. And that night, Willie invited us over to his house on the south side of Chicago. We were leaving the next morning, so about 6 or 7 months later, myself, Dave, and Rob Price went over there, and we stayed to the early hours of the morning, eating, drinking, and playing music. Everybody in his family either played piano, guitar, or sang. Willie was a beautiful man, and he did something else.
Well, see, that's why you're having all this luck, because you've been blessed by the rock and roll gods, the original rock and blues gods, That's awesome. Yeah. You guys are on a long tour now. You've already started it in support of the new album. The track listing, I just want to go over a few songs. Under the Influence is a real rocker. Great guitar and drums on that one. Knock It Off. I mean, it is an eclectic mix. It's got great. It's a little bit of, like you said, rock and roll, hard rock and roll, Memphis kind of blues, a little bit of R&B. It's a wonderful, wonderful album. I could listen to it over and over again, and especially if you're driving a convertible, it's a great CD to be listening to. I like Knock It Off. To kind of reminded me of early AC/DC for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, Charlie is a big AC/DC fan. As am I, actually. I think they're a great band, especially musically. I mean, they play really, really cool stuff. I've seen them a number of times, and great band. In fact, I don't think you've ever played any shows with them. Maybe we have. I can't remember. But I would love to have supported AC/DC. I think that would be really cool. Foghat, AC/DC. Oh, else? Somebody else. But, that would be good.
Yeah, Brian has a house over here in Sarasota, so he's kind of a local guy here. Yeah.
I haven't met Brian.
Oh, you should come visit him.
Okay.
You're not far. Brian. You're not far. She's got a ring in his nose. That's such a cool track. Talk about. How did that come about? That song?
Well, actually, it was originally written by Chris Jordan, SAVOY Brown's original singer. And,
right.
As I said, Charlie Hume was a huge fan of SAVOY Brown. And we were at the house one day just jamming. Scott was with us, Scott, Brian, and Charlie and myself. And we just started playing it. And said, well, let's do it. So we nailed down the arrangement, and I think, again, it was just one take. And then I think we overdubbed the bass, but the 3 guitars played live. So that was interesting.
It's a very, very different sounding song. Kind of a odd melody with the guitar, which I've never heard before. But it's such a cool song. It's something I can't associate with any other song. It's really, 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 really different. I liked it a lot.
Once again, it was sort of part of our growing up, a part of our influence.
Yeah.
It was Charlie, I think, who suggested doing it.
I think my favorite track was Upside of Lonely.
All right.
And, yeah, and Scott was in that one, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, Scott singing and playing rhythm. In fact, myself and Scott recorded that, just the two of us. And it was originally written by Tom Hambridge. Mm-hmm. And I was in Nashville one time. I've got some friends there I go and stay with from time to time. And Tom was playing at the Bluebird Cafe, which is a little club where the singers go in and they sit in the round and sing their songs. And there were 4 songwriters that night. Tom was one of them. Tom had a snare drum with him as opposed to a guitar. And he played the song as a slow blues. And that night, I said to Linda, my wife, I said, we have to do that song. I mean, we changed the attitude on it a little bit. But the song is, why doesn't anybody tell me about the Outside of Lonely? It's, one has to keep a sense of humor in this world.
Right, he does. Yeah. But it's very traditional blues track, yeah. Yeah,
and Kim Simmons plays on that as well. He plays the lead.
It's a great track. You know, it takes you back to the glory days. It really does.
Good.
Yeah. And you did an excellent cover on "Heard It Through the Grapevine," a song written by Norman Whitfield and Barrett Strong from Motown. Of course, Marvin Gaye did it. You did an excellent cover on it. I haven't heard it through the grapevine in a long time. Haven't heard anybody else do it in a long time. So I'm glad you brought it back.
Once again, it came from jamming. It was just Charlie and I at our studio down in Florida, and I just started playing the drums, and Charlie started playing "Heard It Through the Grapevine," started singing it, and we said, "Hold on, let's do that one." So the next morning, Brian came over. And actually, probably in the afternoon he come over. Nobody makes records in the morning, not if you're a real rock and roller. And we said, yeah, put this down, Brian. And that's where it came from. Yeah, it's a classic track. And, of course, Dana also added her vocals to it. She is such a cool chick. She's great.
Yeah, I heard she was. I heard she's a really cool lady.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance to see her perform or meet her, you'll love her. She's something else.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to get her on the show. Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah. I'd love to see more R&B, classics come back. You know what I mean? Especially the guys who know how to play them, who and understood that R&B era. Because it was such a great era, and it's just don't hear those classics too much anymore. I really miss them.
The world has moved on with music. I think I said this before to people, but America gave music to the world, and
right.
It wouldn't be right if it just stayed the same. But it's the take on great American music, stuff that came out on Motown, and it's important. I think I love playing that music. I love listening to it. So
right.
I hope Marvin's not too unhappy about it.
I'm sure he'd be pleased, very pleased.
He would be pleased.
Oh yeah, he'd invite the band on stage, and I heard Marvin Gaye. I heard Marvin Gaye was a great drummer.
Probably. Most great singers do have a sense of rhythm. And in fact, I remember one friend of mine a long time ago said, "Don't mind dying, someone's got a natural sense of rhythm." I don't know what it means, but it sounds good.
Well, Roger, you are a great drummer. You're a great drummer, man. You put out so much energy. I guess that's how you keep in such great shape, because you don't look a day over 50.
Well, actually, my wife has accused me of acting like an 18-year-old from time to time.
Nothing wrong with
nothing
wrong with
more
that.
Like 20. But I'm more like 21 because I got laid a lot more then.
I tell you, the two guys that I admire that are in fantastic shape, for their age and still going, it's you and Ringo. I mean, Ringo looks fantastic as well.
Yeah. I don't know him.
But both of you look great. I covered the last Ringo and the All Stars, and I was up front, taking pictures, and he looked great. He was, he had same belt you have.
Good. Life is for living, and I try and stay healthy because playing drums. There is also, especially in a band like Foghat, there is a physical side to it. I practice regularly. Most days, I'll sit on my pad for at least an hour or more. I'll sit at my drums. I have a drum room outside the house. Actually, I live on a houseboat, not in the house. But it's important because when you get on stage, you want to be able to enjoy it. You don't have to be worrying whether your feet are going to work or your hands are going to work properly. You just want to let it rip. So I stay in shape. Occasionally I drink too much, but other than that, I'm all right.
Well, it's probably just wine, right? You drink a lot of wine because of the Foghat wine.
Yeah. Somebody told me that wine was good for you.
It is good for you.
That's right. So you shouldn't have told me that.
For a rocker also, here's I hope you take this with a compliment. You kind of have a Michael Caine air about you. Has anybody said that to you?
Well, maybe because we both come from southwest London. Michael Caine was great. Actually, one of his best films is A Man Who Would Be King with Sean Connery. I love
that's a great movie.
Yeah, Michael Caine is a great actor. Also, he manages, from any time I've heard him speak in movies, he manages to keep a sense of humor. You never lose your sense of humor. With all the crap that goes on in the world and the horror shows that are on, you have to be able to smile from time to time and laugh because otherwise you end up crying all the time, don't you?
Yeah, especially in this world and everything going on.
In this world. Yeah, there's some nasty shit going on.
Oh, it's horrible. It is. It's bad. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. A lot of crazy.
I don't either.
You auditioned for Jimi Hendrix and Crazy World of Arthur Brown, who I've interviewed. When I interviewed Arthur Brown, he was in his car too, and he pulled over into a parking lot, and then we talked for about an hour. He's a really nice guy, good guy.
Actually, I don't remember. Actually, one of the reasons I think I got that audition, their drummer had left. I knew a couple of the folks up at Track Records. And they let me know about it. Obviously, I didn't get the job, but it was like when I think I was only about 18 or 19 when I did that. It's I wanted to play. That was the only thing that was on my mind, was playing in a band. That was interesting, playing for Arthur Brown, the keyboard player. What was his name? I forgot. Really, really great keyboard player. Played Hammond organ. He was really good. It was interesting, very interesting. But the audition for Jimi Hendrix was something that will stay with me forever.
Oh my goodness! How long did you guys play? Did you play for how many songs?
Well, actually, I think Jimi was very generous with his time with me. We were standing outside at the club called Birdland, just off of Piccadilly Circus at the time.
Right.
And I'd worked in a band that Chaz Chandler managed. Didn't really do anything, but Chaz called me up and asked me if I wanted to audition. I said, yeah. I borrowed my dad's car to drive up to my drums up there. And everybody's lining up. It's sort of like lunchtime, about 1 o'clock, and the club, waiting for the clubs to open. It's raining, as it usually was in London. And Jimi comes up to me and starts talking to me about songs he's written the night before. But when it was my time to actually play downstairs, he was very generous with his time. He was playing stuff that I had no idea what to do with, and I was kind of like, it was like magic. I'd never heard anything like it. And then he started playing some songs that I was familiar with, so then I could sort of get a handle on it. But yeah, he was something else. For somebody to come along, in a world full of great guitar players. I mean, he turned the world on its head with it, the way he played, his attitude to music. Yeah, he was a beautiful man. I met him a couple of times after that and got a chance to jam with him a couple of times. Yeah, he was special. That was a sad day when we lost him.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Imagine where he would have been today if he was still alive, music-wise,
He would have still been turning the world on its head, I tell you that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
I interviewed, the bassist Kenny Aronson, and he
auditioned.
Yeah, he auditioned for the Stones, and he played. I mean, he played for hours with them. And Keith Richards had a cooler of these vodka coolers or something like that, and Kenny was offered the vodka cooler and he didn't take it from Keith Richards, and now he was thinking maybe that's why I lost the gig, because I didn't drink with Keith Richards,
But Kenny was never a big drinker. He did a tour with us one time when our bass player wasn't available. I love Kenny, great player, beautiful guy too.
Yeah.
But I don't drink before I play, and for me, music is enough.
Right.
Like I said, I mean, I've played with hangovers before, but no, I like to keep it sort of pretty clean when I'm playing. But that's not everybody's cup of tea, and I think Keith is kind of special anyway, isn't he? Let's face it.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
If we talk about unique. He's one of a kind. Love his playing. He's a great player. And I think Charlie Watts is one of the great rock and roll drummers. Just his whole attitude to playing. He takes it from a lot of the early drummers like Earl Palmer and some of the drummers that played with on Chess Records and that stuff. I mean, that's where Charlie gets a lot of his influence. And also, I think Keith always sort of talks about drums, like it's important to rock and roll, which of course it is. And there's people like J.A. Van Eaton on the early sort of Jerry Lee Lewis and Sun Records. Earl Palmer was probably one of my favorite drummers. Played in all the early sort of stuff coming out of New Orleans with on Little Richard stuff, Fats Domino's records. I mean, a fantastic drummer. Eventually, I think he moved to L.A. and played on a lot of sessions. But the Chess, there was a drummer called Freddie Below, who was one of my favorites. Played on a lot of the early Chuck Berry stuff and had this incredible way of making a song swing, playing it pretty clean and tight. And every now and again, he would do something, and you would go, "What was that?" In fact, I met Freddie Below one time, about 75, 76, the band was hot as a pistol over here. And we had a night off in Chicago, and Dave and I went out to the blues clubs, and we went out to this club called Mother Blues. And we walk in the door, and pay out $3 or whatever it was. And I go off to the bar to get a drink. I got myself a cognac. I got a white wine for Dave. And I turn around, and Dave's still standing in the doorway, looking at the stage. So I come over to him, and I give him his glass of wine and say, "What's up, Dave?" He said, "Do you know who that is on drums?" And I look up and I go, "No." And he said, in a very reverent way, he said, "Rog, that's Freddie Below." When they took a break, we went up and sort of talked to him and told him what a fantastic drummer we thought he was, and he's looking at me and Dave, and he's going, "So, you want to get up and play?" I said, "Yeah." He was happy with that. He's getting paid and he doesn't have to work. Freddie was really cool. He was something else. He played beautifully as well. He used to do this really cool thing where he would play on the side of the floor tom. And he played beautifully that night. He still had that thing that made everything that he played swing. Yeah.
Another guy that I think you like, that I like, was Buddy Rich.
Yeah, Buddy was, I think, once again, totally unique. There was, today there are some drummers who I never had that ability to play in that manner or with that speed and precision. But I did get a chance to see him play. I saw him play at his club in New York. When I was in SAVOY Brown, we did some shows. I think, I can't remember exactly where it was. I think it was hold on a second. So that car's going everywhere. All right, you're good. We did some shows with Buddy Rich Orchestra, and he was brilliant. I never got to meet him or hang out with him, but he was, he was brilliant. In fact, I have a picture of him in my living room. I have one of me next to him as well, but that's about as close as I ever got. Just pictures. Buddy was once again unique. There was nobody prior to him. There was nobody who played like that.
He was very unique. Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty ferocious. In fact, one of my drum techs, Dave Lang, his father was Arnie Lang, who played for the New York Symphonic, was actually Buddy's drum tech for a number of years. He told me some stories, but I don't think we need to relate that.
Oh, yeah. I bet you got some great stories. I used to see Buddy Rich was on Johnny Carson a lot because Johnny Carson was a drummer as well. So it was like I was growing up with Buddy Rich, because when I was a kid, he was always on the Carson show, and the guy was amazing. He always played with Johnny Carson's band, and like you said, the guy was fast.
He was unbelievable. He would play. You had no idea how he could sort of play like that. There was one time when he played with who was the drummer on Johnny Carson's show?
Shaughnessy.
Ed Shaughnessy. I use the same size sticks that he does, 7 something, and they played together, and it was just blinding. Ed Shaughnessy was a fantastic drummer too.
Yes, he was.
Buddy Rich, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Another singer that we also both liked together was Steve Marriott.
I love Stevie. He was something else. We did a lot of shows with in the early 70s over here supporting Humble Pie, and there was you can bleep some of the words out, right? Because this is Stevie talking now.
Yeah, no, you can. Yeah, you can do whatever you want on this show.
Okay, good. Well, I didn't want to offend any of the younger listeners. Anyway,
that's okay.
We were doing some dates back in '73, probably. I think it was our first tour over here, and we had some opening slots with Humble Pie. And for some reason, their crew were just giving us a hard time with PA monitors, lights, whatever. Anyway, I think our manager went and mentioned it to Stevie. Stevie came out during our sound check and said, "Give fucking Foghat anything they fucking want. Stop fucking with fucking Foghat, all right?" Stevie endeared himself to me forever, and we would often hang out for days at a time, listening to music and getting pretty loose. He was special. I miss him. I loved hanging out with Stevie. He was a wild one.
Oh, yeah. It'd be hard to drink with him.
I tried it a couple of times. We were always drinking or doing something with him. He was something else.
Yeah, it's tragic.
But a great singer.
Nobody can compare to him.
No, and a great guitar player as well. Great guitar player.
Nobody can compare to Steve Marriott as far as singing. I've never heard anything. The only person that I was really thrilled about that sang I Don't Need No Doctor, almost like Steve, was Beth Hart, and I had her on the show. Beth Hart's a great singer. Yeah.
In fact, I saw her recently at the Memphis Blues Awards. You're right, she's absolutely incredible. I haven't heard her sing that, but her voice and her manner is just beautiful.
She sings it on live in Amsterdam, I think it is, and it's on YouTube, and she does a wonderful job. That's how I got really excited about Beth Hart, is after hearing that, hearing her sing that song, because she did such a good job on it.
No, I've heard some of her recordings and stuff. She's fantastic. I think she won some awards this year down at Memphis.
Yep. And she's such a nice lady. I had a great time talking with her. Yeah.
Well, I I don't think I've met her just yet, but I'll look forward to it. Something to
you'll
right?
have to get her on maybe the next album.
Why not? But our current rate, that's probably going to be 6 years from now.
Oh, you think so?
Well, I don't know. Actually, every time we get together to sort of, even doing sound checks, one of us has got an idea for a song, or we'll start playing something, and and Charlie will say, "Do we record that?" And then we'll shout out to our sound engineer, "Hey, Randy, did you get that?" And he goes, "Yeah, I got it."
Next album.
Next album.
That's right.
He knows what to do. Yeah.
Roger, how's the wine business doing, man? You guys are getting bigger and bigger. I see more stores are carrying it now.
Yeah, actually, we're just at a wine and cheese cafe bar that's opening up. That's going to be carrying our wine today. And in fact, we're supposed to go. I don't know if I want to drink. It's pretty early. What is it? 2 o'clock, quarter to 2 or something.
Yeah, almost 2 Eastern time.
Yeah. But sometimes you have to suffer if it's business. That's right. Linda doesn't drink much, so she can drive. I'll be all right. I'm more like show and tell when it comes to the wine business. It's I know quite a bit about what wines work and don't, and I've learned a lot about processing wine and making it. I go out and pick grapes. We go to harvest each year, even if we don't pick our grapes. I work with one of the other farmers, help picking and punch it down, and putting it into barrels and or tanks. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun doing it. We have a fantastic winemaker guy, Steve Rasmussen, who's been doing it for 30 odd years. He also teaches winemaking. They call it something else. Can't remember at the moment. But I really enjoy it. They all come from the central coast of California. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've had a bad bottle of wine that comes from the central coast of California.
Right, I agree with you.
Yeah, they make fantastic wine. I believe a number of bands have started sort of making wine, but Dave Matthews makes some really nice wine. It's called Dreaming Tree, which I've tasted a number of times. I believe that he gets most of his from Central Coast. But I had a bottle of Dreaming Tree last night. Nice wine. Well done, Dave.
There's good for you.
For you. Yeah, there's a jam band for you. Have you ever met him or talked to him?
Who's
Dave
that?
Matthews. Dave Matthews.
No, I've never met Dave Matthews. No.
Neither have I. Frankie's wine is good.
I got to try it. I'd rather try Foghat wine.
Have you had any?
I have. It's very, very good. It's excellent.
All right. I guess I better send you some more, right? Which one did you try? Do you remember?
I think it was a Cabernet.
Yeah, we have the 2012 Cab is fantastic.
Right.
It comes from Paso Robles, and in fact, the cabs from that area are just fantastic. In fact, we're going back out there later this year. We're going to Paso Robles. We're going to work on some of the grapes there and picking them and wandering around. And farmers are terrific people, real friendly. Every time you go there, there's always some food out on the table and some wine. So,
yep.
It's
life
enjoyable.
Is good.
Yeah, life is very good.
And you're still a great chef, right, Roger?
Yeah, I love to cook. I love to eat. I don't like cooking for more than about 6, no more than 8 people. Then it starts to get crowded, and you can't really sort of talk much. But I cook. I have a garden where I grow a whole bunch of vegetables.
All natural.
I live on the water. Yeah, all organically grown as much as I could do it. I live on the water. I live on a houseboat, so and I fish. So fresh fish from time to time. Life is good. Life is good.
Wow, you live on a houseboat. You fish. You cook. You have your own wine. I mean, come on.
and my first 2 wives have forgiven me.
They've forgiven you. Life is
They've
great.
forgiven me. But I did say to them, you shouldn't really have married me. I was a much better boyfriend. But the upside of that is I have 3 beautiful daughters, so no problems there.
Well, what do your daughters do now? You got one that's involved kind of with Foghat a little bit. She's kind of helping you out here. Yeah.
She works. She is like a media expert and has her own business. Jessie did it, and she started working with us about a year ago, I guess, because we needed some help on promoting this record. And it's nice to come downstairs, and there she is working away at her desk. My oldest daughter lives in England, in Wallingford, near Oxfordshire, and I have a granddaughter out there. We're very close. And my youngest daughter, who is 30, how did that happen?
30.
Anyway, she's a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's a teacher.
Real close.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a teacher. Yeah, I'm real close with all the kids.
Yep, my daughter's a teacher too, and she's 30.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I guess I'm getting up there in age. Yeah, it's great. And I got my first grandkid. He's about 17 months now, so it's wonderful. I want lots of grandchildren. It's a great feeling. It really is.
Okay. Well, my oldest granddaughter's 21 now, and another one that's 21. My grandson is, how old is he? He's 17 now, I think, yeah, because I'm taking him out for his graduation party tonight.
That's incredible.
I missed the graduation party, but
yeah.
I guess you get 2 parties this time, so that's cool, right?
Yeah. I got to ask, how's Craig doing health-wise? I know he's seeking awareness for patient safety. He's supporting some kind of legislation that would require patients to be directly informed of their medical tests.
Right.
I know there was an issue there. He's got, stage 4 lung cancer?
Lung cancer, yeah.
How's he doing?
In fact, I talked to him last night. We talked for about half an hour.
Right.
He's a cantankerous bastard, so, he's going to fight this until, he's certainly not giving up. He's not that type of person, but it smacked him down. He started a new series of immunotherapy now, and it seems to be working for him, which apparently they've had a degree of success with the type of cancer that he has. The thing was he smoked most of his life, but
right.
Yeah, there were some issues about it. But he's fighting it. He came to a show about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We played out in Pennsylvania where he lives. We did a show with Joan Jett. I love Joan, by the way. Joan is just beautiful. She's so
she's cool. She's
cool.
Cool.
And Craig came there. He wasn't feeling too good that day, but he wanted to come because he only lived about an hour away. And it was one of the days that the Earl and the Agitators were opening up for Foghat. Mm-hmm. So he sat through that set, and then he had to leave. But he's fighting it. He's fighting it. He's not giving up.
Good.
I don't see that he's going to be playing with the band in the near future, but
he's
still, as far as I'm concerned, he's still this band's bass player. Rodney O'Quinn is standing in for him now,
right.
And Rodney is actually was handpicked by Craig. Craig went to see him play, and then invited him over to his house for breakfast the next morning because they weren't going anywhere. And the next thing we know is Craig said, "Look, why don't you give Rodney a shot? Because he's a great bass player and he knows all my parts."
Right.
We did, and Rodney is now filling in for Craig McGregor. Rodney O'Quinn is something else.
Well, our prayers are certainly with him,
Thank you.
And, how about your brother? How about Colin? How's he doing?
Colin's doing fine. I talked to him yesterday. I was talking to everybody yesterday. He's doing fine. He's working. He's kind of retired, but his wife said he retired 50 years ago. Piano player in a band.
Always talking to the wife.
Piano players. That's not work. They're playing. So, no, my brother Colin is doing fine. In fact, he spent 4 weeks with me this summer over here. We did some fishing, hung out a lot. Yeah, he's doing fine. Thank you for asking. Yeah,
he was on the last album with you, right? He was on that album. Yeah,
that's right. On Last Train Home. Yeah, he was on that. Great piano player. A really good big brother. I mean, he stopped beating me up after I was about 12. So
that's funny.
I think it was because I started to grow, and it wasn't easy to sort of wrestle me, and it never really hurt. But after a while, he decided, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
you might hurt. And I became a drummer. And he said something about, you don't want to fuck with drummers.
I've got an older brother too, and I talked to Dave Davies about him and his brother, and we really got into it back and forth. It was so funny. We were talking about our big brothers and how mean they were.
They're not really. They have all the responsibility, and they have to suffer for everything. And everything I used to do, he would get blamed for. What did you let your little brother do that for?
Of course. Well, Roger, I'm done. You have anything else you want to promote besides the tour?
No, I think we're done. I've got to go in and do some wine tasting now, which is something that I relish. And thank you. I've really enjoyed talking to you, Ray. I hope that some of it is sort of entertaining for the folks out there. And I'll see you when I see you.
Thank you for the incredible music. And Under the Influence is a great album. And please have fun on the tour, and I know you will.
I will do. Good talking
to you, Roger. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Purchase Foghat's new release entitled Under the Influence at Amazon.com or visit www.foghat.net for Foghat tour dates, and including record release party at BB King's in New York City on September 21st. So go to and visit www.foghat.net/tour. For more Foghat information, of course, visit www.foghat.net. Foghat's on Facebook, www.facebook.com/foghat. Twitter, www.twitter.com/foghat. Visit Foghat Cellars and choose your favorite wine, Foghat wine, www.foghatcellars.com. And also visit the other band, www.earlandtheagitators.com. Very special thanks to Chipster PR and, of course, the great Rose Nangano, managerial assistant to Foghat, for arranging this interview, and to Don and Doug Newsom with BBS Wonderful Radio for making it all happen every show. Coming up next, Wally Palmer, the great guitarist, singer, songwriter for The Romantics. Join me bi-weekly, Mondays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on The Ray Shasho Show. If you have comments or suggestions or would like to be a guest on The Ray Shasho Show, call 941-877-1552 or email us at ray@publicityworksagency.com. And don't forget to purchase a copy of my book entitled Check the G's, The True Story of an Eclectic American Family and Their Wacky Family Business, or the second edition entitled Wacky Shenanigans on F Street, available now at Amazon.com, and you'll live it. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Ray Shasho Show, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency. Call 941-877-1552 or visit us at publicityworksagency.com, specializing in author and music artist publicity plans. We shine when we make you shine. Join Ray Shasho every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on BBS Radio, Station 1.